welcome to another episode of Tormenta Talk. We are La Tormenta. We are the supporters group for West Texas FC out here in Midland, Texas. With me today is Chris Haig and Zach Workman for the first time. Welcome to the podcast, Zach.
Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so why don't we start with you, Zach? Just tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of how you got looped into West Texas FC, and just kind of your journey with the club and maybe with the sport.
Man, I'm late to soccer, so growing up out here, it's other kind of football. So I guess it was the end of the 23 season. We came to the last game. Somebody invited us and got season tickets for last year, and then renewed them for this year, and haven't looked back. So
that's awesome, man. What about it appealed to you?
Man, just the energy in like the stadium, and just the growing up, I always was told soccer was boring, nobody scores, and then actually watching it, I'm like, oh wait, there's a lot that goes on. There's a lot of action. It's not a lot of downtime. So
yeah, that's great. I heard a comedian once talk about that because you hear that all the time, right? That soccer's boring. Mm-hmm. It's like games end in 2-1. Where I watch, the NFL, and it's 21-14, and it's like, you're not kidding anybody. That's 2-1. Yep. That's 3-2. It's like, but it does kind of give you the impression that it is a slower thing. But, I think once you get into it, you really kind of appreciate the fact, it rarely stops. It's always moving, it's always going. And then even whenever it looks like not much is happening, once you understand the game a little more, you can kind of see why you would pass it back to your defender, right? And kind of change up your formation. And I feel like that brings a whole another level of dynamic. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So today we are talking about a couple of things. We're talking about we haven't recorded since the last two games because they were kind of back to back. They were both home games, which was super fun to have two home games in the same week. But we have the Fort Worth Vaqueros, and then we also hosted Brownsville. And so part of two of the last three games of the regular season, and we'll, of course, be looking at our last game of the regular season, which is this Saturday against Lubbock away. And that's always a big game anyway, but for a lot of different reasons, there's a lot riding on this, both for us and the team up north. So So why don't we start with just kind of the Fort Worth game, kind of unfortunate game a little bit. But Zach, why don't you kick us off? Just kind of what was your take on the Fort Worth match?
Man, we were better. We were better the whole game. We just couldn't get a bucket. I don't know what that goalie took before the game, but he was out of his mind. But we had all the chances. We were right there. So, if we end up meeting them again in the playoffs, I'm not worried about it too much. But yeah, it was hard game to watch.
Yeah, it was a tough game to watch. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, same. It was. As a fan, that's a very forgettable game. You don't really want to dwell on that type of game too much. As a former coach myself too, that's the type of the game you just gotta move past and put it behind you. But yeah, it was a letdown, right? It was disappointing to go down, and then in many ways we were the better team, but in the way that mattered the most, who finished their chances, we couldn't do it. So that was definitely disappointing. Credit to Fort Worth. Their goalkeeper stood on his head. He played really well. They scored their goal, and then they executed pretty well. They just didn't give easy chances to us. We had opportunities, that sort of thing, but just couldn't finish them. So that was a bit of a disappointment. I think kind of a letdown, just after that roller coaster of a game against Oklahoma, right? Kind of coming back, and you got to keep up that pressure, and we just didn't execute. So yeah, disappointing, but you put it behind you and kind of move on.
Yeah, I think you make a good point about Fort Worth. This was a much better team than the last time we faced them. I thought they looked so much sharper, and it was a tough game to watch. I think it was tough, and both of you guys alluded to this, that we got into good situations. We got to where we needed to be, and where Beto's one-on-one with the goalkeeper 9 times out of 10. That's just a goal. And when you see it starting to develop. You're like, all right, we're about to score, and you're already kind of thinking about like the next goal and all that kind of stuff. And a combination, I think, just for whatever reason, you kind of have those days where you're not hitting the back of the net. You're maybe comes off your foot a little wrong or whatever. But and like you both said, the Vaqueros goalkeeper, I thought, had a really great game. Yeah. So. But I thought their game plan was dead on.
Mm-hmm. And it was one of those games, too, where, like, we did have chances. We had some very good chances. We just couldn't convert. And I don't remember what minute the Fort Worth goal came, but it was in the first half, right? And I was like, man, it'd be great to get one back before halftime. And then couldn't. And then second half started, and all of a sudden you look up, and it's like the 75th minute. And it's like, man, now you're in kind of desperation mode. So there's just, you could feel a little bit of that frustration of, like, couldn't get that goal, and it keeps moving on, and then it just becomes kind of that difficult roadblock, right? So
absolutely,
which everybody's going to have those games. Glad to get it out now before get it out.
Better
learn from
now
it
than later.
So
yeah, and I don't know about you guys. It felt tense. Like as soon as Fort Worth scored, like the stadium felt tense, the bench felt tense. Like it just kind of felt like it was just one of those days where you could kind of feel a game like that coming. And like you said, Zach, I think getting it out of the way, because you're always going to have them, right? I mean, any team anywhere on the planet is going to have those games, and that's just unfortunate. But and it's interesting because going into the Brownsville game, I was really happy that we got to immediately turn around and play another game. Just like, forget that happened. Let's get back out on the pitch and see what we can do. And the Brownsville game started eerily similar. Yeah. And so I'm curious, Zach, how are you feeling kind of when Brownsville puts one in pretty early?
So I was actually out of town. I was out on a trip, so I was having to watch it on my phone, and it was like the same thing you said with the Fort Worth. They scored first. I was like, oh no, not again. Yeah. And then credit to Scotty, credit to the guys. They stuck right with it and fought. Yeah. Gut punch. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, Chris, I know a bunch of us in the stadium were like, oh no, this feels like a replay.
I mean, that was a bummer to give up that first goal. I don't know. I think I felt a little bit more confident in that game against Brownsville. We still had a lot of time. It came early, just like that game against Fort Worth. But you're right, like what you had mentioned about the vibes were a little bit off on that match against Fort Worth. Like, it was an earlier kickoff. It was a midweek game. Like, just even going into the stadium, like, it's different from the normal routine. So it's just like the whole feeling was different. Against Brownsville, like, I don't know. It was early enough that I still felt like, all right, we got plenty of time. And then they responded well and responded well. I don't know how long it took to get our equalizer, but then came back pretty quickly, got a couple of goals, and I think it was 2-1 at halftime, right? I know it was 2-1 when we broke for the long range.
1-1 at halftime.
1-1 at halftime. Yeah,
we scored right there, right at extra time, I believe.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so that was good. At least we got one before halftime, and then like kind of how that confidence going into the second half.
And I think that's what you take away from the Fort Worth is they've been through it. They learned that lesson, and obviously they took it to heart and moved on. And
and how encouraging too, like that that the team's response to being in a similar situation was not to lay down and just kind of give up, go, oh crap, here we go again. I think that was creeping into the back of my mind watching the game. Like, please don't let that happen. But the vibes were better overall, but it did, somewhere in your brain, you're just like, I don't want to watch the same game. That was not any fun. And I thought, they were really, Brownsville is always tough, right? They're always very physical, very difficult, and they were giving Gabo the hardest time. I mean, they were just like rough. And so the way the goal came about just felt that much more uplifting, right? Like, okay, that's we just cracked them. And now it's just a matter of trying to spread that crack into something that we can use. Because we all knew if we go in at half 1-1, this game's in the bag. We've got it. Because we are a second half team. We will have had the momentum. So it was like we just needed that goal and almost had to like force it. It was like, if it's not going to fall to me, then I'm just going to ram it, and just take it. So,
and which was good that they responded that way, because like that was the intensity that was lacking against Fort Worth, where it's kind of like against Fort Worth, it felt like they were playing in a way like, well, maybe a goal will come, and they had those chances, but it wasn't like we've got to play with urgency and like really go for it and make sure we get an equalizer.
Yeah.
So it was,
good point.
It was good that they responded that way against Brownsville.
Yeah, and that pass of Leo's to, I think it was Adem, was just silk.
Yeah.
I mean,
ridiculous.
Yep.
Not to mention Appia's pass. Was it on that same goal that Appia recovers the ball and then, like, I can't remember who was running kind of near post, but it was like, in my mind, that was the pass. And when it went past that guy, it was like, oh, he missed the pass. And then there's Gabo with acres of space. I mean, it was like, oh, okay. I forgot who we have on the pitch.
Insane shot.
Yeah. Wasn't it off the top crossbar too?
Yep.
Thought he bent it for a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild.
It definitely left an indention in the ball at the very least. Because, man, what a rocket. And you could just feel that was what he wanted in that moment after, just getting pushed around for a while and having to really be gritty. It was like all his frustrations, got concentrated into his right foot, and he just buried that thing. That was a good moment. We wanted that in Fort Worth so bad.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what we needed.
So going into the second half, it felt like that ease, right, kind of settled in a little bit. Kind of what was y'all's take on, because we had kind of two second halves, right? We had leading up to around the 70-something, I can't remember exactly where it was, and then we had, like a 2.5-hour rain delay. And I'm curious, Zach, what was it like watching that on the stream? Like,
so I watched up until I was able to watch the PK, and then I got sent away. I just kept checking. I said, what is going on? And the timer said 30 minutes, and then it gets to 6. So I'd look again, and 30 again. And I'd look, and it gets lower. And eventually I made sure I set a timer. I was like, all right, I'm watching this penalty kick. I don't care what everybody else is doing here.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. And even in the stadium, it was like, we really didn't know what was going to happen. It was a lightning delay. And so as we're kind of just under the stands hanging out, having a great time, by the way, it was like there was lightning everywhere. I mean, it was crazy. We were like, I don't know if this game's going to happen, Every time a lightning strike would happen, it'd be 30 minutes, and then another one would hit 30 minutes and just kept pushing. But it was a little worrying, leading up. So the way anybody who didn't watch the game, leading up into that lightning break, we did score another one, which just, again, put everyone even more at ease, became much more like happy. We're partying in the stands. And then Alberto wins a penalty. And I think it was Gabo goes to place the ball, and that's when they call a lightning delay, which I thought was ridiculous. I'm just like, are you really not going to let him take this penalty? But so then we wait for the 2 hours, and we start right on a penalty, which, what a bummer for Brownsville, man. That's a long wait.
Yeah, so
that poor goalie.
Yeah, just waiting for it. But that piece of it made it like so exciting too. Like I've been in several like rain delay games, like in MLS and that sort of thing, and they're always memorable. It's like if you're just hanging out in the stadium or just waiting around, like it's kind of a memorable experience. But even more, where we're waiting around and we know that immediately when we come back, we've got a PK, which is wild. And then I think we were far enough into the game that they could have called it at a certain point, right? Like I think we were past 70 minutes, but from what I understand, like the boys wanted to keep playing. And it's like, no, don't just take the 2-1. Let's keep playing. We've got a PK coming after this and 20 more minutes to play, which is encouraging as well. They want to just keep going and not just stop at that point and take the 3 points. But yeah, that was super unique to have that PK and then just come right back and start with that. It was wild.
Yeah, what's crazy too, when you think about at the time of the delay, it was 2-1. Yes, we have a penalty shot to take, but the end of the game is 5-2.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy to think about, like that many goals happened in that short amount of time. But I'd be curious y'all's thoughts. It felt like post rain delay, that was the team that we've come to know and love. Mm-hmm. That was a team having fun. And what a better time to kind of find that rhythm again and just find that, this is really what we're capable of.
Yeah.
Do you guys, I mean, did y'all sense, like I sensed a shift in the second half, and I sensed a major shift coming out of that rain delay, or the lightning delay, rather?
Yeah, I mean, they were just, after the rain delay, they were ready to play and just having fun, and we were all having fun in the stands. I mean, that was a blast, just like the few of us that were still there and just having fun cheering them on. But there was definitely a shift where they're just going to play and have fun and get into it. It changed a lot, like the actual game state, right? It really opened up, and that game, that last 20 minutes was very back and forth and that sort of thing. But yeah, you could tell with the club, like they were just, with the boys, they were just having fun, it seemed like.
Yeah, it turns into backyard football. I mean, how often do you get to play at 11:30 at night, so...
Yeah, and we had them laughing, Zach. We were trying to come up with a chant for every player because we had so much time, and so we were just like, someone would just start yelling stuff and we'd start clapping and singing along.
Yeah, they were all having a blast with that too.
It was fantastic. Yeah, and so curious, it's been kind of a crazy couple of games, but across the two games, we normally try to pick kind of player of the match. Who would be your player of the week for those two games kind of put together?
It's hard not to go with Leo, especially after that. Every time he touches the ball, something electric happens.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, he set up that first goal. That second goal he scored, I rewinded. I don't know how many times I've watched it this week. He got through three people and just lasered one in, and every time he touches it, something happens.
No doubt, guy plays in a suit, as they say in Brazil. And it's wild that you just expect it, at this point. You just like, anybody, as many players as they can throw at him, I'm just not that worried. And the guy plays like so chill. I mean, just doesn't seem to be bothered by it.
Yeah. I think, that's a great shout. I think Leo came to mind for sure because he's such a difference maker. He didn't start against Fort Worth, but when he got in, he was contributing to those chances, and right away he's a difference maker. I was glancing at the starting lineups because there were some changes. Like, we definitely saw some changes in personnel and who started and even just who dressed between the two games. And I think maybe they didn't have the same type of visible impact, but two players to shout out just because they've been so steady all season long are Cam and Carrick. You just know, Carrick is captain, right? But Cam as a center back, the two of them are just so steady and so calm, and I think really important presence, bring an important presence to a club, especially when you have a game like that one against Fort Worth that's a little bit of a letdown, and you need to respond well to it. You just need that consistency too. So both Cam and Carrick are, they're pros, right? They're two players that I've been really impressed with all season.
Yeah, I would totally echo that. It just, there's something nice about just knowing Cam's going to be out there. Being a Liverpool fan, we have Virgil van Dijk on the back line, and that just makes you feel good. It's like a safety net as a trapeze artist, and you got guys pulling flips and stuff, and I'm not stressed out because there's a safety net there. That's Cam Watts and Carrick both. I would actually say, the back line, just in general, I think Ryan, every time he's on the pitch, I'm just like,
all out.
I take him for granted too much, just like you do defenders, right? But golly, all out is great, a great descriptor. I would put, I think across the two games, a guy that comes to mind is actually, and I'm pretty sure he was in the stands for the Fort Worth game, but was Gabo. I thought he was the one who kind of provided that complete shift in the second game, and I think there was something about, he's like the Diego Luna of our team. He can somehow just will it to happen, and it's going to be through hard work. It's going to be through running a little harder. It's going to be through outworking the opponent to give our entire team a lift. And I, for whatever reason, he was highlighted in that whole Brownsville game, especially the first half, where we needed that shift. So,
and that's a great shout because I think we missed him against Fort Worth too. And that's one thing that I could feel in that game against Fort Worth. Gabo didn't play, Marcel didn't start, and that bite in the midfield was missing, in my opinion, because the two of them against Oklahoma United played so well and just brought this like energy, and they're chasing balls down all across midfield and like just bring a certain like grittiness like Diego Luna. It's a good comparison. So having Gabo back in that game against Brownsville definitely made a difference.
Yeah, and it seems too like it's just it's like the way you play, because I've been really impressed with all the midfielders in every game, but they all do different things. And maybe it was during the Fort Worth game we had more of the guys who are kind of the controllers of the game, and we needed and maybe not different people, just a different kind of strategy
style. Yeah,
of how the midfield was going to work.
Yeah, different skills, different skill sets that they bring, and it impacts the game in different ways.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as we look ahead, how are you guys feeling about Saturday?
I'm jazzed.
Zach, why don't you kick us off? Yeah?
I'm pumped up, ready to go. I'm excited.
Yeah. What comes to mind when you think about that game? Just, do you think about when we played them here, or is there kind of other things going on in your brain?
It's just, I remember last year when we won the El Dustico, and I'll never forget the fireworks going off as soon as they blew the whistle, fireworks going off. I want that again. I want that. And it's rivalries are fun because you never want to let the other team have an inch. And I don't think we're going to give them one. So,
yeah.
Good shout. How are you feeling, Chris?
Same. Super excited. Like Zach said, rivalries are always super fun. Away days are always super fun. And so to end this season, regular season, on an away day, a rivalry match, a chance to clinch El Dustico again, there's not much more you could ask for. It's like super exciting. And as we've got to know this squad and this team, like, I have a lot of faith in them, and so much faith in coach and all the players and just the way that they're going to play. And I'm really excited to see like just the response that they bring and how they step up in this match.
Yeah, not to mention you're talking about a team that, the attendance up in Lubbock is always really fantastic. They have a great SG that, we've talked time and time again about how those guys in Lubbock have really helped our SG become a thing, probably at a rate that we wouldn't have been able to achieve without those guys. And so it makes me excited. It'll actually be my first away game, like to be in person.
Same.
And so I'm really excited about that. Is it really, Zach, for you too?
Yep.
Yeah. So I've never experienced that, and Chris, you've gotten to experience that already this season.
Yeah, and although the game against Oklahoma United was my first away game, because even Lubbock last year I didn't have a chance to go. This is second away day for me this season, but I've had plenty of away days in MLS, and it's always fun. Like, it's always fun as an opposing fan to walk into another stadium and support your squad. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So how about on the pitch? It was a gritty game when we played them here. It took kind of us firing on all cylinders to be able to give them still their only loss of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And Lubbock is stoking the fires. They're clearly also revved up and ready to go. So what are you guys expecting, or what are you hoping to see when it comes to the play on the pitch, Zach?
I would hope we're going to throw the first punch. We're not going to lay down. We're going to go at them, I think, 100 miles an hour from the jump. So I don't think we're going to wait for anything to happen to come to us. I think we're going to go take it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for too. Is just like guys who are ready to step up and play hard for 90 minutes. And I don't doubt that they will. I know that coach is going to get them ready for this match. I think that the couple of blips in our season, like games where we've had those letdowns, it's just you're not winning those 50-50 balls. You're not like going hard into every tackle. You're not going at that level that you need to throughout the entire game. And there's a little bit of a letdown. So that's the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to, is just, I know coach is going to have them ready to go, and just watching them get ready and get into it right away. And as for all of us going up there too, that's part of it, is like us cheering them on and making sure that they do that.
Yeah. Yeah. there's something about too, like playing an opponent that you know is really good, kind of turns your brain on a little sooner, right? And not that the other teams we played aren't good. It's more like when you've got teams in the top, one or two places. Obviously, Lubbock is sitting at number 1 in the division right now. I feel like maybe you just kind of approach that game. It's a little easier to kind of get your focus, right? It kind of pulls you in a little quicker. And I think I think the fact that our boys are going to be like locked in from the jump, I would be really nervous as a Lubbock supporter. I certainly wouldn't be spreading out the confidence that Lubbock seems to have. I'm going into this game saying this is going to be a great game, and luckily we have an incredible team, right? And I'm confident that it's going to be a really fun match to watch, and I'm confident that we're going to walk away with another W.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the ramifications of the game. Zach, I know you were in the Discord today kind of trying to clarify a few things. When you see the stakes of this game, for some of the people maybe who aren't, all over the NPSL website, doing all the math and all that good stuff, give us kind of a rundown of kind of what you're seeing as far as the stakes of this game.
Yeah, if there's a marble, this is for it. I mean, for the local, even the El Dustico, which, it's a trophy in itself. If we win the conference, which means we're home 2 games in the playoffs, assuming we win the first. If we draw, it's a 50-50 chance if we get a home game. I know y'all are talking about, road games are great, but I like Astound. I like playing there. So,
and in the playoffs, we definitely want to be home.
Yeah. If there's a lot riding on it that, and let's take any coin flips out because, I was getting a haircut earlier and I was looking, I was like, wait a second. Every tiebreaker matches up with Oklahoma if we draw.
And that's a result that I didn't see coming. When
6 tiebreakers.
I can't believe Oklahoma didn't win that.
Yeah.
It's clearly a long way for them to travel. But yeah, like you said, Zach, when Arkansas wins, you're just like, oh my gosh, that opened the door for us. Where if we win up north, we take home the top spot, and it was just kind of some good fortune, which we've taken advantage of in seasons past. And so it's fun whenever, because like you said, just Dustico is enough, right? A game to win the conference, that's enough. Against a team that if they win the conference, right? It's like this, all these factors, any one of them by themselves would be enough to get you revved up for this game. The fact they are all riding on this game is something totally different.
So it's functionally a third playoff game. That's what it is. It boils down to.
And if I'm not mistaken, what's also at stake is more games that we get to go and watch, because if we do have away games, they won't be in Lubbock, right? They'll be in Fort Worth or in Oklahoma, and we want to see more games. We want to be in the stands for the games, right? And so really we need the W to give us kind of the best possible shot at that. Plus, I want that tumbleweed, man. That thing belongs in Midland, and that needs to stay put.
Yeah, I think that should be the focus for our boys too, is like focus on this match. Make sure you win this. This is ours, right? Yep. We own this right now, and we're going to continue to own it. So that should be the biggest focus, because there are obviously ramifications, but they've got to come in, just focus on this match, and just make sure they take care of business and bring home the Dustico.
Absolutely. Anything else that you guys are hoping to see out of the match, out of the lineup, out of the experience of being up in Lubbock? We'll all be there, and I'm sure we'll be in a tight knit group, because it's there's going to be a lot of red. And so anything else that you guys are kind of like just earmarking, looking forward to?
I'm excited to see Scotty pick up the clipboard the first time, or the pegboard, and watch him draw something up, because
it's like Harry Potter's wand, man. Yeah. Like every time that thing gets pulled up, it's just like good things happen. Yeah, I love it. And it's fun that we look for that now, right? Like it makes such an impact
Yeah, his coaching
How about you, Chris?
has been fantastic. I think I'm just looking forward to the whole experience. Like I said, away days are fun. So just being there in the stadium, being together, all of us, we know it's a red out. And so for us, repping blue and yellow, we're proud of our blue and yellow. And so to be repping that in their stadium, I can't wait for that. And just can't wait for the match and see what happens. And like you said, confident that we're gonna bring home 3 points.
No doubt. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to what I want to see is kind of what Zach was talking about. I want to see us come out of the gates just blazing. Like I don't, I think that's when we play our best football. I think I want to see our boys focused but relaxed. I think anytime that we see us get a little rushed, it just means messy passing and, we don't quite connect. So I really hope that our guys come in like focused, level-headed, and ready to take it to, our rivals because, we are Duendes del Dustico.
Yep.
We're the owners of that trophy.
Yes, sir.
And that thing belongs here. So, gents, in a few days, I will see you in Lubbock. Anybody who isn't going to the game, it's like a weekend of soccer extravaganza at Tall City. So, for the 4th of July, just go plant and hang out there. There's a bunch of games going on. Until then, any last words, gents?
Just excited for it.
Yeah, we'll see you. Yeah. We'll see you in a few days after the match too, holding the Dustico trophy. Can't wait for that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we will. All right, guys. Well, with that, we look ahead to the final game of the regular season against our rivals for all the marbles. So we'll see you guys there.
All right. See y'all, man. Appreciate it.